You've had an eventful day. Well, an eventful morning especially.
Simon Jordan, you little bitch! No wonder you lost 100 million, bitch!
I will refer to him now no longer as the Gypsy King, but the Gormless King.
Yeah, he's
Come and say
taking
it to my
Simon
face,
Cowell.
Tyson Fury. This is Talk Boxing with Simon Jordan and Spencer Oliver. In fact, it's episode 16. Don't forget to keep liking the videos and subscribing to the channel. It's a special episode because we've got rid of that deadweight Pat, the producer, and got the A-team in, Romero and Zach. So we're looking forward to a really good show. Spence, what's new besides that rather unfortunate sweater? How are you, mate?
Simon, I'm very well, mate. You've had an eventful day. Well, an eventful morning especially.
Oh, yes. With,
Mr. Fury.
With Tyson Fury and his lovely little outburst.
Yes, I mean, let's talk about it.
I can't wait! I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm f***ing ready to rock and roll. I wish it was this weekend. Usyk, you gappy teeth, ugly, bog-eyed rabbit cat, ugly piece of shit. You are getting knocked the f*** out. And for all the haters out there as well, a massive f*** you, because they got 70% of the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship. Simon Jordan, you little bitch. No wonder you lost 100 million, bitch. Wrong business, you little sausage. Joe Parker, we cannot wait.
Can't wait.
Cruiserweight's getting smashed. Christian, strongest I've ever been. He's a monster. I'm a f***ing monster. Ah! Cruiserweights are getting demolished. Get up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't quite understand it and why he's targeted me for it. I think it's probably because I said that he should be ashamed of himself if he doesn't take and make this fight, and called him out on a few things that have been inconsistent about his approach. So rather than be this alleged fanboy of Tyson's recently, I've never alleged it, other people have alleged it about me, that, that I'm always seeing the best in Tyson, because I happen to believe he's the best heavyweight around. He's now decided to call me his little bitch. I'm going to identify now as a bitch going forward. And that he can understand why I've lost 100 million quid and I should have put it into boxing. Look, it's all grist for the elbow, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all about the currency of the fights. His ongoing feud with Oleksander, Usyk, and this exchange of words is interesting. His observation to me, you know, look, Tyson's silly. He's got a great admirer in me. You can't have praise without criticism attached to it. I do think that some of the things he's said and done are stupid. I will refer to him now no longer as the Gypsy King, but the Gormless King. Because I think if you're going to tag somebody into something, make sure it's the right Simon.
Well, he's tagged you Simon Cowell, right?
I'm going to start wearing my trousers underneath my armpits.
Yeah.
Right? And then maybe I can move into the Simon Cowell territory, although I wouldn't mind being a pound behind Simon these days.
Yeah.
And maybe he's going to audition for, you know, the X Factor. Maybe it was a concerted plot and it wasn't actually a Machiavellian mistake. It was an ultimate equation that Tyson was trying to get in with Simon Cowell.
How confident are you, Simon, that this fight is going to be made? I think that's the sort of $1 million question. That's the thing that everyone wants to know. They're getting frustrated with Tyson Fury, with his, you know, outbursts and demands.
Yeah.
But Oleksander Usyk, to be fair, called his bluff and said, I'll take the 70-30 split. I'll take the 30%. I want the undisputed. Then Fury's gone back again and said he wants more out of this. Have we got enough time? April the 29th, is it enough time to get the fight made?
Oh, absolutely. I can't see any reason why it wouldn't be. First and foremost, do you think that there'll sell 94,000 tickets like that?
Yeah.
They'll be gone. It's a pay-per-view deal. So those are easy plug and plays. So you already know who the broadcasters are. You already know what the output deal looks like. You already know what the pay-per-view model is. So you're there. You've already got enough background noise around this fight to suggest that people are waiting for it to happen, demanding that it happens. It's undisputed, so it comes along at once every generation. So here you have all the ingredients. Are the fighters fit? I had a long conversation with Frank Warren, talked about the nature of Tyson's positioning and where he is in all this situation. Gareth A. Davis was talking about certain things yesterday, which I thought were ridiculous about the inability to make the fight. As I've just said, 94,000 tickets will be sold like this.
Venues are booked. Hotels are booked.
Tyson is as fit as a fiddle.
Yeah.
He's as fit as a flea. Usyk, we know, is permanently in a condition ready to go. Whether he wants to be in a condition after a fight with Anthony Joshua, he wants some time to recover from a battle with Anthony Joshua. But physically, Usyk can go again whenever he wants to. Yeah. It's just about getting the timing right to be at the best of your abilities. This fight, from what I understand, absolutely is in go mode. It's not in a qualified situation where Frank Warren always comes on, and we all love Frank because he's easier going. Some people don't love him. I quite like him. And he always gives you an answer. He's a jolly old fellow in terms of giving you an answer, but then he always leaves it slightly qualified. You think, well, actually, that isn't a definite answer.
Yeah.
But the Frank Warren that did the show with us yesterday, that then I spoke to in the afternoon on a different subject, but that came up obviously, and then he did Drive Time on talkSPORT. All of them are basically saying it's done.
Yeah.
Right, the big question is, where are we at with this fight?
Well, look, both boxers have agreed to the split, and it'll be on. It's just a matter of, contracts, but they're not going to be a problem. I know we'll get this on. And I was just listening to what both of the guys have said today. And from Tyson's perspective, he's just basically putting it out there that, just put it all on the table. Why you want a rematch? Let's just get on with the fight and do the fight between the two of us.
Presumably, when a boxer asks for a rematch, in this case, Oleksander Usyk, it's not just him saying, I want a rematch clause. It's his people talking to your people about the possibility of putting that clause in the contract, right?
Yeah, and I've got to be honest. He's right what he says. To start with, we were all for that because it made a lot of sense for both sides. Because you never know what's going to happen in a fight. I mean, I think Tyson wins the fight all day long, but you get a cut high. Anything can go wrong. You've got that cushion and benefit of a rematch, which works both ways. But Tyson today sort of threw that out there, I think, to really just spice it up and say, come on, let's get on with it. Just put everything on the line. The winner walks away with it.
Okay. It's done. And then we have the argument about the splits that were originally made. And I think the splits, I think he's got away with one. And I think that Usyk has made the fight happen.
What do you think about now Tyson Fury coming back and saying, well, listen, now let's see what balls you've got. Let's put it on the line. No rematch clause in the contracts. Do you think that's going to be a problem? Do you think that could be a stumbling block? Or do you think
it
they'll
can't be,
accept
can
it
it?
anyway?
I mean, they're all playing hide and seek with one another. I think there's an element of last word-itis going on. I'll have the last word. I said 70-30. I'm the A side of this conversation. I bring the 94,000 fans to Wembley. You're fighting in the country that I emanate from or originate from. I am the big noise. You might have 3 of the straps, right? But I'm the noise. And there's an element of that I concur with. I don't think the 70-30 split is right. I think it's more likely, in my view, to be economically fair at 60-40. But Usyk's bitten down on it. Usyk said yesterday, and says it again via his manager, that Tyson Fury was the one that wanted the rematch clause in the contract.
Yeah.
So if Usyk doesn't want the rematch clause in the contract because he never asked for it in the first place, it surely can't be a stumbling block now because that will become about principles and they're all trying to have the last word. Usyk goes back with I want £1 million for Ukraine. If you take £1 million out of the fight, it's another 2%. So you're now talking about Tyson getting 68% and him getting 32%. So in an argument, is it?
So do you feel that this is more about promotion, like this online back and forth that they're both doing, about promotion, about hitting an audience outside the audience? Because, like you said there, I think this is the first undisputed fight we've had since Holyfield and Lewis back in 1999. So that's how often they come around. It's a huge thing. Yeah. And we're lucky enough now that this fight's not going to Saudi. We're getting it at Wembley.
Absolutely.
It's a historic moment. Do you think that that's what they're doing now? They've got to basically... That's what I feel about this. I think, the fight's done. Like in my mind, I'm saying the fight's done, and I think now it's all about promotion, trying to hit the biggest audience that they possibly can.
Well, of course it is. I mean, you saw in the last meaningful heavyweight fights that Tyson pseudo-meaningful, which was the fight against Dillian Whyte, where people gave Dillian Whyte some form of a chance. I didn't. I didn't think he'd do particularly well in that fight, and so it proved. But Dillian didn't want to participate in any of the marketing of this fight because he was really marginalised economically. He really was on the 20% end of the equation. And so with that in mind, he didn't get involved and didn't get involved in the promotion. There is a lead time, but this lead time has been burning now since the moment the idea that Fury and Joshua were going to fight, because it was all about Fury and Joshua fighting primarily so that one of them could get to Usyk in the first quarter of this year, give or take. Right?
Yeah, of course.
So it's been on the burn for some time. So people have been talking about it in boxing circles for some time. And in the world that we live in, and more so you than me, it really is in everyone's mind. And everyone knows it's going to come, or it was potentially going to come, and it was going to exist, and people are going to buy it. But it's the other guys that we're talking about, because we know we're going to sell 94,000 tickets. I guarantee you they'll sell 94,000 tickets at Wembley. It's about how many buys they can get around in America, how many buys they can get in other parts of the world, because they're going to want to try and get 1.5 million buys, aren't they?
If we don't get the fight on April 29th, how irritated do you think the public are, and how damaging do you think it's going to be for Tyson Fury, for his legacy, really? Because everybody feels, I speak to people out on the street, and the general feeling is that Usyk wants to fight. He's accepted the 70-30 split, which is very kind because it could have gone 60-40, which he originally wanted. Would a winner 60, lose a 40. But he's accepted that. Do you think it's damaging to Tyson Fury if the fight doesn't happen on April 29th?
Well, not necessarily. If it was moved to May 14th or May 29th,
yeah, sure.
I don't think so.
Or if it doesn't happen at all, maybe,
Yeah, but if it doesn't happen at all, then you're going to be in a territory of why didn't it happen? Because it would appear prima facie that Usyk has bent over, taken everything that's been thrown his way and made it happen. In the same way that Tyson Fury tried to position himself with Anthony Joshua to take away the issue, which is, okay, son, I know that the problem with you is that you won't like any split, even though you're only a challenger now. I'll give you a grown-up split. I'll give you a split that I don't have to give you. But I'll take away that argument. And that fight fell away. And I think rightly so for Anthony that fight fell away because I don't think it was the right fight for him to take anyway. But if we're in a territory now, and for any reason other than an injury, this fight doesn't happen, and a real injury, right? Then you start to get into the credibility because Tyson wants to control this fight, right?
Yeah, of course.
He wants to be the person that dictates the terms of his fight. So that means his responsibility via himself and his management team and Frank is to deliver the outcome. If you're dictating the pace, you're dictating the venue, you're dictating the split, you're having the conditionality around no rematches, if then you don't make this fight happen, then it has to be on you, and you have to find the consequences of the outcome that's going to come your way. Because once upon a time, it was Anthony Joshua.
Yeah,
you're ducking people. You only fight people that you know you can beat. And Anthony Joshua's taken his fair amount of brickbats, and some of them being thrown by Tyson Fury.
But people can't accuse Fury of ducking fights when you think he went to Germany to beat Vladimir Klitschko to win the world title. He went to America 3 times to beat Deontay Wilder. So it's not like he should be...
Well, the Klitschko was an opportunity that was given to him.
Yeah.
Right, because Klitschko was the defending champion. He had to go to Germany to fight him anyway because that's where Klitschko was basing most of his fights out of, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And ultimately, he was given a shot.
Yeah.
So you give him... What I give him credit for there is that no one thought he could do it.
Yeah.
He went and did it, in a style that wasn't the most exciting, but it was a compelling outcome in terms of... And what he did was, he then got hold of all the belts.
Yeah.
And then they subsequently got scattered because he disappeared into the ether, had his own challenges. And then the boxing world of Anthony Joshua were able to pick up the remnants of what Tyson Fury's deeds did. Deontay Wilder, okay, the first one, I think coming back from a remarkable layoff and all the challenges and to have performed the way he did... The other 2 fights, he knew he could beat him.
Yeah.
So he took those because he knew he could beat him.
But you know what? You go into fights, like speaking as an ex-boxer, when you have those sort of fights and you know that they're tough fights, you don't always want to go over old ground if you don't have to. The second time I understand because, like you say, the first one was
he
a
had
draw.
to fight him second.
He climbed off the floor. The second one had to be done. The third one, I go, take my hats off to you there, mate, because Deontay Wilder's got the power to iron you out at any given point. So I respected him for taking that fight, but perhaps...
But then say this again. Think about it. Fury in the second fight had to happen. The first fight was an opportunity, and I think very commendable of him to go into that fight because he was going up against what people consider to be the most fearsome puncher, or still do actually, fearsome puncher around. And with that in mind, Tyson Fury, that was coming back from a long layoff with a very small amount of fights before that, went in there and did something quite remarkable. Won the fight, got a draw. So he has to fight the second fight. In the first fight, he felt that he had learned all he needed to learn about Deontay Wilder, so he knew he could go face him in the middle of the ring.
Yeah.
Went wide about his power.
I thought he was a massive underdog in that fight, going into that one, with what he'd been through, the troubles that he'd been through.
In the first fight?
In the first fight,
Yeah.
oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
I thought it was an
But
amazing
we're now talking about
performance.
Fury's journey. So the second fight, he goes into with Deontay Wilder and telling everyone, I'm going to meet in the middle of the ring.
Yeah.
I'm going to meet fire with fire. And he did.
Yeah.
And he dealt with Deontay Wilder, with him. And then Deontay Wilder comes out with whether it was a contractual position that they were entitled to a rematch after a result, I don't know.
Yeah.
Then Deontay Wilder comes out with all these spurious allegations about what weight he was carrying on his shoulders, what was in Tyson Fury's gloves. So knowing that he's got the better of him in both fights, first one back, that he wasn't really at his A game. Second one, he destroyed Deontay Wilder in. The third one, I think they're gimmies they're remarkably difficult fights because you've still got this problem in front of you. But if you know you've got the better of the man, and you've already been in there twice with him, the third fight isn't such a challenge as maybe going in against someone you've yet to fight. So he does, in my view, albeit I am a cheerleader for Tyson Fury, despite his silly little observations recently. And I do think he's a superstar. And I did, when I saw him at Wembley before the Dillian White fight, looked across the room and thought, now I know what a superstar looks like. I've been around many famous people, many influential people. None of them have any charisma. This guy does. And since then, I've been quite disappointed in him because I think he's been a bit low rent. And I think he's been a bit ignorant at times and a bit hypocritical and contradictory. And he says things that he's going to do and he don't do them. He makes bets that he doesn't honour. And I don't think that's something you deserve to be respected for. Do I think he's the best heavyweight in the world? Yes, I do.
Can you read anything into this build-up now, and with what's going on, the back and forths, and with Tyson Fury's demands? Can you read anything into the mind games of the guys? Nothing like that. You just feel that Tyson Fury's confident enough to go in there and accept this challenge and win the undisputed.
Well, what's he said in this last part, which is all about control? Because if you want to control a situation, you want to retain control. You want to be the big I am in the conversation, and he's earned the right to be that in this situation, because it is in his country, it is as a result of the fact that we're doing it at Wembley, and the smoke probably comes with him in terms of the media world is concerned. So what's he done? I don't want a rematch clause in there. So what does that do for either one of them? Who's at disadvantage at that? They're both at their disadvantage. Has Tyson Fury achieved an advantage in that situation?
And let's have it right. If you get a great fight, you're going to get the rematch anyway, because financially it's going to work.
But there can't be an objection to Tyson Fury taking out a clause that only he wanted. Because it's all been admitted that he wanted that clause. So you haven't got a problem with it because you didn't ask for it in the first place, Usyk. So you can give this quite easily. So we don't have to have the big sort of don't mess with the bull or you'll get the horns mentality. You can just accept the fact that there's no need for a rematch clause, accept the fact that at this moment in time Tyson Fury is dictating the pace of this agreement, and then just get on with the fight. Now, of course, the idea that there is no rematch at the end of it is probably for the birds, because even if the rematch clause isn't in there, which you rightly allude to, if it's a fight that has real... If Tyson Fury goes in there and knocks Oleksander Usyk out in the first round, which I don't see happening, by the way, then there's less of a case for a rematch. But if it's a real barn burner of a fight, then they're going to have that rematch in Saudi Arabia for big dough, for all the benefits of the fight they couldn't currently have in Saudi. And the big problem we got, Spence, in boxing, as I see it, amongst many of the problems that it's got, and looking at it from the outside, is this image of Middle Eastern money. It's poisoning the well. What it does is it gets everybody at it and thinks every fight they have should be at Middle Eastern money levels. And the moment you don't get Middle Eastern money levels, you just can't make a fight because they've got a problem, because they've got delusions of grandeur in their mind about what they should and shouldn't get out of these fights.
Yeah, well, look, my understanding was that the Middle East that was the front runner originally, end of January, they give 2 separate offers to both guys. Oleksander Usyk accepted his offer. Tyson Fury wasn't happy with the money that he was being offered, hence why we ended up in Wembley.
Maybe. Well, he won't be happy with that, because I'm pretty sure that the money he might have been offered to go and fight in Saudi would have always been bigger than the money he's been offered at Wembley. It's not possible not to be the case. But they've got what they've got now. And what I do think, and I don't know if you agree with me, is the fact that this fight finds itself in one of the boxing meccas of the world. And I think there were 2, England and USA, and it's not me saying that the Middle Easterns don't have a right to have fights in their countries.
It's history, isn't it?
But I think that the biggest engagement and the biggest influence of boxers, albeit there are many champions around the world from different countries, are the USA and the UK, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So by some fluke of timing and opportunity and circumstances leading to the conclusion that we've got a fight with 94,000 people going to a iconic stadium in one of the heartlands of boxing.
It's a historic moment.
I think it's a great moment.
Absolutely. I think that it couldn't have landed, for me, in a better place. Like, Wembley is a historic stadium anyway, doing it in London, a fight that's going to be remembered for years to come because it's the undisputed. No better place for me.
Whoever wins this fight, and I believe it will be Tyson Fury, and we can discuss that in a second. Where does it rank in the all-time greatest heavyweight achievements? If you've got Tyson Fury, let me just qualify for a second. Sure. You give me the more educated boxing view. You've got Tyson Fury looking at Oleksander Usyk saying you're a pumped-up middleweight, which is silly. Because he's not, he's a cruiserweight, right? And we've seen many cruiserweight champions come out of there.
Evander Holyfield was one, that's right.
Absolutely, right? And David Haye, of course.
Yeah, of course.
And we may yet see others come out of the cruiserweight division, and Richard Riakporhe and Lawrence Okoli if they get their opportunities in the future. But where will this rank if Tyson beats Oleksander Usyk in terms of the greatest achievements? And where would it rank if Oleksander Usyk beat Tyson Fury?
Well, I think for Oleksander Usyk, if he beats Tyson Fury, because for me, he's the overwhelming underdog going into this one. Just purely on, if we look at Oleksander Usyk, when he boxed Anthony Joshua, Joshua has the physical size, strength, and we thought Joshua would be too big, too explosive, but he didn't have the psychological powers there to be able to overcome Oleksander Usyk, who controlled it.
He didn't use his attributes.
Yeah, he didn't use his attributes because I think he had the psychological damage. I really do. I think that damage had come previously.
But he didn't
in his
use
career.
his attributes in his first fight, though, did he?
No, he didn't. That's what I'm saying.
But you're saying it goes back beyond that.
Yeah, it goes back beyond that, and that's what I'm saying.
Even though he was fighting a cruiserweight that couldn't do the damage that Ruiz
because
in his mind.
I think he quickly recognised that Usyk was better than what he thought, and Usyk was smart,
And
he fiddled his way out of there, clicked
him.
away. Fury's better than that because Fury knows how to use his size, and the size is a big factor in this fight because Fury's got great boxing IQ as well, but Fury's also got massive balls. He will go in there and he'll roll the dice and he'll take it to Usyk, and that's what you need to do. You need to bully him. I think what we saw when Oleksander Usyk first turned heavyweight, if you go back to Derek Chisora, which was his second fight after Chaz Weatherspoon, I think it was. It was his second fight against Chisora. So, all right, he was still growing into a heavyweight. But Chisora showed the blueprint on how to beat him. He bullied him.
Yeah, and learnt all over
He bullied him.
Yeah.
Fury will do that. He'll know what he's got to do in there. Fury won't stand off him. He'll use his size and strength, and that's why I think he wins the fight comfortably. So, I think if Fury wins the Undisputed, where does it rank? You know, when you're talking about your Holyfield and Bowes and Lennox Lewis and Holyfield. Look back on them fights, man. Go back there. I think Holyfield versus Bowe, 1993, they had the trilogy there, didn't they? Yeah, and you had the Fan Man come in, and we get into all that. That was great. That was great. You had all that stuff. And then you look at like Lennox versus Evander Holyfield, the couple of fights they had, the controversial draw to start, and then the second one. Look at those fights, and you just go, wow, this fight won't rank up there as good as them.
Do you not think?
I don't think it will, because I think it's going to be more of a technical spectacle,
battle,
as opposed to.
But if Usyk, okay, that's if Fury wins.
But that's if Fury wins. But if Usyk wins, now it ranks up there because Usyk's the man coming up from cruiserweight, and for me, he's an overwhelming underdog going into this one. And if he pulls it off, it will be like one of those victories, like when you saw Evander Holyfield knock out Buster Douglas, where you go like Buster Douglas just coming off that win, that 1990 win in Tokyo,
or the Riddick Bowe
against
fight.
Absolutely. Or the Riddick Bowe ones. You know, you've got to respect those fights. Those fighters, the cruiserweights coming up like Evander Holyfield.
Is Usyk now a bona fide heavyweight rather than a pumped up cruiserweight?
I think he's definitely there. He's developed into a small heavyweight now. That's probably a better way of putting it. He's not like. When we look at the heavyweights today, if you put him in the heavyweights of the Lennox Lewis days, he's a full-blown heavyweight now. Yeah. But the heavyweights of today, like Fury's going to come in at like 19.5 stone. Usyk now says, actually, tactically, he's going to come in heavier. That could be a downfall for him. Because if he comes in heavier, his feet are just slightly slower, and he allows Fury to nail him. So Fury's got very quick hands for a big guy, and he controls the space very well and all that. So Usyk has to get it right. He can't afford to come in too heavy, because that may paint him furious.
It will rank as one of the best fights around if Usyk pulls out a win.
Oh yeah, it'll rank as one of the best upsets and best victories.
So with that in mind, you can't prevaricate and pontificate. Where's your mind telling you that this fight's going to end up, and what does it look like? Who do you think is going to win?
Yeah.
How do you think they're going to win?
Yeah. So I think this fight ends up April 29th, Wembley Stadium, and I think that Tyson Fury wins, and I think he dominates, and he wins on points. I don't think he stops Usyk. I think Usyk's too smart, and I think he'll be able to keep himself out of trouble. I think when they come to the centre and they meet each other head on or whatever, whereas Usyk was beating Joshua to the punch, Fury will punch with Usyk, and I think that it'll just that's how he wins a fight. I think Fury wins a landslide wins victory.
So that you don't see any knockouts. I mean, I don't either.
No.
I don't see it being that kind of fight. But you never know with Fury, because in this instance, Fury. Do you think Fury would be sat? I mean, a win's a winner there.
I don't think Usyk's got the power to knock Fury out, and that definitely is not going to happen. But Fury may be able to grind down Usyk. That's if the fight ends inside the distance, it goes in Fury's favour.
Do you think Fury, from the point of view that he thinks and says, and I don't think he really believes this, but he says it anyway, so he's got to be accountable for it. He keeps on talking about this pumped up, gap tooth, ugly looking fruit now, but really he's a middleweight, right? Do you think that it will satisfy Fury's ego to win on points, or do you think that as a heavyweight that considers himself a bona fide big time heavyweight, which of course he is, do you think that Fury could turn the game plan on its head, not be satisfied with a victory that's won from a tactical position of being just as good a fighter but being bigger, that he would more likely want to knock Usyk out. I mean, everyone wants to knock someone out, right?
Yeah,
They can,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But more likely in his game plan, because he told us he was going to knock Wilder out, he was going to meet him fire with fire, and Julie did it, and went out to do that,
Yeah.
right? Do you think this time round he'll do the same thing with Usyk, or do you think he's going to be a bit more mindful of the fact he's got a far more skilled operator in front of him and will be content with getting a points victory?
No, I don't think he'll be content with getting a points victory.
He'll
I
want to
think
knock him out,
that
won't
he
he?
want to knock him out.
Yeah.
You know, with all the talk and everything else, and, you know, with what's on the line and this whole legacy thing and everything else, in his own mind, Tyson Fury, he's going to be looking at it again. Yeah, he's a good cruiserweight and he's a pumped up heavyweight, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to knock him out because that's what I should do as the number one best heavyweight of our modern era. I should be able to deal with a guy like this. And so Fury, yeah, I think that he'll only be satisfied with a KO win for me, Tyson Fury. I mean, if he wins, obviously he's got the undisputed, and then
if he wins on points, it opens the door
Yeah.
for a rematch that apparently neither of them are bothered about having. What did you make? I just want to go back 1 second and just revisit something that Eddie Hearn has said recently, because he's talked at great length about he used lots of interesting language, and I thought I actually loved Eddie Hearn's interview the other day. Yeah. I mean, I think of him what I think of him, right? It's pretty clear what I think of him sometimes. But I also think when he's in that kind of mode, he is worth listening to. He's good to listen to. And when he talks about the only fights that have been made in the Middle East have been made by moi and all that sort of nonsense. Right? And I quite like it because I think it's showmanship, right? But he also said, without using the same language, when are you? I was dressing as Coogan, wasn't he? When are you going to learn about Fury? He's not this. He's not that. He's effing this and he's effing that, and he's not about this and he's not about that. Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it.
What did you make of it?
Well, I understand what he was saying, but listen, Fury for me, he is that, because what he is a showman, Fury, right? And I think Fury's going to be one of these guys that, he's got his fan base now and everything else, but he'll be a little bit like Muhammad Ali, as in he'll gain that respect, more respect after his career is finished, when people look back at it and go, you know what? He was actually unbelievable. Not just as good, like to be a superstar, to be a great, and go down in history as one of the greats. You have to be as good out the ring. You have to be as good a showman out the ring as you are in it. Yeah. Fury's got that. No doubt about it. You will see him walk into a press conference and he'll light up a room. At times. You never know, and he's very unpredictable. Yeah. And I think that's like, he's got character, is probably a better way of putting it. Yeah. And that's what you need to to go down in history. And I think Fury's got that. I really do. So I understand what Eddie was saying. Yeah. But listen, Fury's got the balls to put it on a line with any heavyweight that's around today, that's for sure. I don't doubt that. But what we do know is that he's a smart guy. He's smarter than what people give him
Well, he ain't
credit for.
smart. Have you seen that?
He's got 70%. He's got 70%.
That's very smart.
That is very smart.
But the basics, if you're going to have an outburst, Tyson, and you're going to be unpleasant in your outburst,
I know where you're going with this.
At least link it to the right person, you Wally.
Yeah, so the people that are listening, he's tagged in Simon Cowell after calling you all the names under the sun. Yeah, he's tagged in Simon Cowell. And by the way, it's trending. It's #1 trending on Twitter at the moment. Yeah,
Simon Cowell's in some beach in Bahamas going, what did I do? Yeah, what did I do?
Why is the big man after me?
Anyway,
what have I done?
What we've got now on our hands is arguably the biggest fight in boxing.
Yeah.
April 29th in England, the greatest country in the world, with, in my view, the best heavyweights.
Yeah.
Chapeau, boys. Let's have a great fight.
Yeah.
Okay, Spence. Another fascinating fight coming up. Obviously, in a very different division, in the lightweight division.
Yeah.
But between two fighters, one of those fights where it looks like you're getting two fighters in their prime.
Yeah.
Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's difficult to keep track of these divisions from junior welterweight to super lightweight to lightweights.
Yeah.
But it looks to me like you've got two fighters that genuinely believe they can both win these fights at very good stages in their career.
Yeah.
What say you?
Right, so we've got two fighters there who are campaigning at 135 pounds, which is the lightweight limit.
They're fighting at 136.
Yeah, they're fighting at 136 catch weight, and this is because Ryan Garcia 2 fights ago moved up to super lightweight, which is 140 pounds, because he was struggling so much at 135.
But he's still ranked. In the lightweight divisions, he's ranked at 3. In the super lightweights, he's ranked at 11, isn't he?
That's WBC, and do you know what it's like with the WBC and the Mexicans and the Mexican Americans and all that? Yeah, they're all over the place. So look, he's a super lightweight. and Gervonta Davis, who's only campaigned, he's only boxed at 140 once, and that was against Mario Barrios.
Yep.
And that was back in 2021. He struggled in that fight. He was behind on points and knocked Barrios out
though,
in the 11th round. Yeah, recognised that 140 is way too big for him. He's only a little guy. He's and so he's.
Well, you can see the difference in the face-off. You can see the difference. It's about 4 inches, isn't it?
So making this fight at a catch weight of 136 is genius for Gervonta Davis because I believe that Ryan Garcia will be weight drained, and he's also put in a rehydration clause that only allows him to go up to 146. So he's only allowed to put on 10 pounds. So for a guy that's been drained down a lot.
What do you make of Ryan Garcia? Because a lot was made of him.
Right.
A lot was built up with him because A, he's a very handsome boy.
Yeah.
B, he's got star quality. He's an Instagram product as well.
Yeah.
And ultimately, with Oscar De La Hoya behind him and all that kind of imagery, he was given the rah-rah treatment. He came in. He's dealt with certain fighters. He dealt with our own Luke Campbell.
Yes, he did.
Got dropped by Luke.
Yeah.
And then dealt with Luke. I think it was a body shot.
Yeah, it was a body shot. Yeah, it was a body shot.
And then we've had some well-publicised issues with some mental health, hasn't he?
Yes.
I mean, Gervonta Davis has got his own issues in terms of he doesn't seem to be able to behave himself outside the ring in the worst kind of ways, allegedly with domestic violence being on his record. But notwithstanding that, getting back to the fight, you look at Garcia and you say, can he win this fight? I mean, you're going in against the guy that has won big fights at different weight classes.
28 fights, 26 KOs.
And 96% or 93% knockout rate.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, Garcia's a slightly bigger fighter, so it might not follow through that he gets him knocked out, but notwithstanding it, it's still a hell of a fight.
Garcia's like 23-0 with 19 KOs,
I think he's got about 70-80% knockout rate himself.
Incredible speed. He's got the height, he's got the reach, and he's got the power. He's got a massive left hook. It's a great fight. I mean, boxing IQ, Gervonta Davis is very clever. He uses lack of height to his advantage, very heavy-handed. But Garcia can take someone out as well. But Garcia will be punching down, which is dangerous for someone that's small and knows how to use that lack of height to his advantage, because he'll come back and wings those right hands over top. I think, for me, this is a 50-50 fight. I know that Gervonta Davis starts the favourite, but for me, I think Garcia's got more than a chance, definitely. Does he win it? I'm not so sure. But what I'm saying is he's more than capable of winning it. It's one of those fights that I would have to keep a very close eye on going up to the build-up of the fight.
Is it what it's being billed as, which is you're getting two proper fighters at the peak of their careers?
It's a super fight.
Because we always have this argument that they never get made, the Floyd Mayweathers versus Manny Pacquiao's and whoever else that we didn't see in their pomp and prime. Yeah. We don't have to make the argument about the heavyweight division, but we make it about other divisions.
Like Terence Crawford and
Errol Spence.
Errol Spence. I mean, that's a classic example. Fights where you're probably going to get one of them guys past his prime now. Terence Crawford's about 36 years of age now, so time's not on his side. But with these guys, they're both young.
24, 28,
both unbeaten. And more importantly, there's not a title on the line, which you've got to respect what they're putting on the line when there's no title on the line. I think it is a genuine 50-50 fight, leans slightly towards Gervonta Davis.
Can you just explain to me, because I don't understand why. I mean, I know they've made it a catch weight, which probably means that there's no reason for a title to be on the line. Well, why is there no title on the line?
Right, because there's a catch weight. So because there's like they're over the lightweight limit, and
so they're just fighting for the sake of fighting,
and they haven't got a title at 140. So they're fighting for the sake of fighting. I think that Ryan Garcia can't make 135, and then there would be a title on the line because of Gervonta Davis. And Gervonta Davis going up to, they're boxing as super lightweights because they're a pound over the lightweight division. But there's no like.
But Gervonta Davis can make weight in that weight class quite easily. It's Ryan Garcia that can't.
No,
I'm assuming the reasons why they're making this fight happen is because it's going to generate a significant amount of financial return.
Without a doubt, yeah. And it's a fight.
It's a money fight.
It's a money fight, and
But that's irrelevant because you've got two bona fide fighters going in.
And you've got them two divisions, the lightweights and super lightweight divisions, Simon. You look at the names that are around there.
Yeah, Devin
Haney, and then like you've got like your Josh Taylors and your Jack Cattralls and your Ramirez, and there's like there's Cambosos, Lopez, Teofimo Lopez. The list goes on. So what I'm saying is, everyone wants to see these fights put together. These guys are going, we don't need a title. You know, let's get it on. Like these two guys, I think it's a great fight. I think they're showing the way that sometimes you don't need titles on the line.
Gervonta Davis, I think, probably stays in and around this weight level, doesn't he?
He can't go much higher than that.
But Garcia can't he? Garcia can go up into junior welters.
Absolutely.
And perhaps end up fighting
even welterweight.
So he could end up fighting one day Josh Taylor.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, he's there now already because that's what I'm saying. I think that Ryan Garcia can't come back down to 135. And that's why that's why I say it's genius from Davis. I go, he knows he can't make 135. That's now why he's campaigning as a super lightweight. And Davis has gone, well, I went up there once, struggled, was getting beat, knocked him out, but I recognised that I was out my depth within that weight division. So he's come back down to lightweight. And what he's geniusly done, he's gone, well, I'll go at 136, 1 pound above the lightweight limit. So I'm giving you a pound, which can be a lot, by the way, in these divisions. But what I'm saying is, if it was 137 or 138, then I'd go, I fancy Garcia actually. But because it's 136, I think Garcia is going to struggle like mad to make that. You've seen how big his frame is, how tall he is. That is a tough weight for a kid of that size to make. You know, and he's only young and he's still growing.
I did like that. First of all, I did like the fact. I mean, he regularly turns up to press conferences late. Gervonta Davis, he does it every single time he comes, and Garcia was having none of it this time. I was going, you're unprofessional, aren't you? You don't do these things in a certain way. You do these things in a different way. What did you take away from the press conference? What does the language look like?
Do you know what the language was? Look, both guys look super confident to me, but Garcia's the golden boy, and he's the good-looking kid, the one that they're trying to build up, clean image and all that. He's struggled with his mental health issues. He's overcome that, so he's a great advocate for that sort of stuff. What he does in the ring, he's one of my favourite fighters. He's like a mini Mike Tyson. He's like an explosive mini Mike Tyson, but with better boxing IQ. He's cuter than that. Controls the distance well, got good shots, good shot selection, moves his head well off all the shots. But Garcia steps up. I think he proved that against Luke Campbell. What I liked against him when he boxed Luke Campbell in the second round, I believe he got floored in the second round, and he got caught with a good shot. Campbell's an underestimated fighter, probably one of the best we've had that never won a world title. And he got caught, didn't panic, got up, rose up, and delivered, and went in there and just took Campbell apart. Great development stage for him there, because he may need that. That may stand him in good stead going into this fight.
I didn't think Luke Campbell believed in himself enough against Lomachenko, and I think that ultimately, when he got to fight Garcia, he wasn't the same fighter that possibly went in against Lomachenko. So in this fight, to conclude on these two boys, they ain't seen the 12th round, are they?
I don't think so.
So, given that we're in the business of making outcomes and forecasting them, who are you picking, and where do you pick it to be?
I'm going to go with Davis for those reasons that I highlighted, and I think that weight issues are going to be a big problem. Rehydration clauses that have been put in place. That's why I go Garcia as a big underdog, because Garcia's got the height, the speed, the boxing technique, and he's a good fighter. But Davis, I think everything leans in his favour, and I think that'll be enough. I think you may get him late,
Oh, you think it's going to be down the stretch?
I think it'll be down the stretch. This is one of those fights. This could be a classic. It could go all the way and you go, wow, I need to see that again. I truly believe that. It's like one of those, I'm going Davis, but listen, I'm not betting on that. I wouldn't fancy a bet on that. Because I wouldn't be surprised if Davis
I think it's a pick 'em.
Yeah.
I think it's a pick 'em, and I think there's a possibility that Garcia could pull a rabbit out of a hat. But listen, more of these fights. This is what we want to see. Right, that's your lot for episode 16 of Talk Boxing. Don't forget to keep liking the videos, subscribing to the channel, and of course, listening to the Talk Boxing Q&A on Sunday. Myself and Spence. See you next week.